Hold up, did we just hear that right? The New York Knicks might actually hire Dawn Staley as their next head coach. If this happens, we're talking about the most shocking move in NBA history. But here's the real question, would it work? Well, wait, this might actually happen? Okay, let's talk about this because nobody saw this coming. The New York Knicks, those Knicks apparently reached out to Dawn Staley about coaching their team. And if you don't know who Dawn Staley is, you're about to find out why this is such a big deal. This woman has been absolutely crushing it in college basketball. We're talking about someone who's won 3 national championships at South Carolina. 3! And her teams don't just win, they dominate. Her last championship team went undefeated the entire season. Like, they didn't lose a single game. Do you know how crazy that is? But here's where it gets interesting. Some people are losing their minds over this possibility. They're saying things like, she's never coached men, or the NBA is different. And yeah, they're not wrong, the NBA is different, but hold on a second. Are we really gonna sit here and act like Dawn Staley doesn't know basketball? The timing of this whole thing is pretty wild too. The Knicks just had their best season in forever. They made it to the conference finals, they've got Jalen Brunson playing like a superstar, and they're trying to take that next step. So the question is, would bringing in someone who's never coached in the NBA be the right move right now? And get this, there might already be some connections there. Jalen Brunson's dad is on the coaching staff, so it's not like she'd be walking into a completely unknown situation. Sometimes in basketball, it's all about who you know and who trusts you. That could actually make this whole thing work way better than people think. Let's talk about what she's actually done. Alright, so some of you might be thinking, college basketball? That's not the same as the NBA. And you're right, it's not. But let's talk about what Dawn Staley has actually accomplished, because it's pretty incredible. First off, she's not just some random college coach. This woman was a beast as a player. She's in the Hall of Fame, won 3 Olympic gold medals, and was one of the best point guards ever. So she's been at the highest level of basketball already. She knows what it takes to compete when everything's on the line. As a coach, she's taken South Carolina from being just another team to being the best program in women's college basketball. Her teams win about 77% of their games. Think about that for a second. She wins 3 out of every 4 games she coaches. That's not luck, that's knowing how to coach. The way she develops players is what really gets our attention though. Remember Aja Wilson? She's now one of the best players in the WNBA, and she credits Staley with making her into the player she is today. Same thing with players like Aaliyah Boston and Camila Cardoso. These weren't just naturally gifted players who were gonna be great anyway. Staley helped turn them into superstars. Her teams play tough defense, they execute perfectly, and they never seem to get rattled under pressure. Those aren't women's basketball skills. Those are just basketball skills. When you watch her teams play, you see fundamentally sound basketball that would work at any level. Plus, her players absolutely love her. You can see it in how they talk about her, how they play for her, and how they still come back to visit years after they've graduated. That kind of respect isn't something you can fake. Either you have it or you don't, and she clearly has it. Why this could be exactly what the NBA needs. Here's the thing, the NBA has always been about breaking barriers. This is the league that gave us the first black head coach, the first black general manager, and all these other firsts. So having the first black female head coach would actually fit perfectly with what the NBA has always been about. We've already seen women succeed in NBA coaching roles. Becky Hammon was an assistant coach with the Spurs for years, and guys like Tim Duncan and Tony Parker have talked about how much she helped them. If she could earn respect from Hall of Fame players, why couldn't Dawn Staley do the same thing? Think about it from a player development angle too. The NBA is getting younger every year. More and more players are coming straight from college or even high school. Having a coach who has spent her entire career developing young talent could be exactly what a team needs. Staley has proven over and over that she can take players who might not be the most naturally gifted and turn them into champions. The media attention would be insane, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. The Knicks haven't been relevant in years, and this would put them right back in the spotlight. Sometimes that pressure can actually help a team perform better. But let's be real about the challenges. Okay, we gotta be honest here. This wouldn't be easy, and there are some real concerns that make sense. The biggest one is obvious: she's never coached NBA players before. College kids are one thing, but NBA players are grown men making millions of dollars. They might not respond the same way to coaching that college players do. The physicality is different too. NBA games are faster, more athletic, and the players are bigger and stronger. The strategy is more complex, there are more games, and the travel is crazy. It's just a different animal completely. Some people in the NBA might not be ready for this kind of change either. While the league talks about being progressive, there are still some old school attitudes floating around. She'd be dealing with criticism and doubt that male coaches never have to face. So, what this could mean for everyone. If Dawn Staley actually becomes the first black female head coach in NBA history, we're talking about something that goes way beyond just basketball. This would send a message to young girls everywhere that there are no limits to what they can achieve in sports. Right now, if you're a girl who loves basketball, your biggest dream is probably to play in the WNBA or maybe coach women's basketball. But having a woman succeed as an NBA head coach would change everything. It would show that the top level of basketball coaching is possible for everyone. So what's the bottom line here? Should the New York Knicks hire Dawn Staley as their next head coach? Based on everything we know about her track record, her leadership, and her basketball knowledge, we think she deserves a real shot. This wouldn't be some publicity stunt, this would be hiring someone who has proven over and over that she knows how to win. The concerns about her not having NBA experience are fair, but they're not deal breakers. Every coach has to start somewhere, and her success at the highest level of college basketball shows she understands what it takes to compete with the best. Her ability to develop players, manage different personalities, and perform under pressure are all things that would help her in the NBA. We don't know if this is actually going to happen. The NBA is still pretty much an old boys club, and there are probably people who aren't ready for this kind of change. But if it does happen, it would be one of the most significant moments in basketball history. Dawn Staley has earned the right to be considered for any coaching job, and the Knicks would be lucky to have someone with her track record leading their team. Whether you think this is a great idea or a terrible one, you gotta admit it would be fascinating to watch. And honestly, that's exactly what the NBA needs right now.